Welcome to the European Association for Higher Education Advancement's YouTube and podcast channel. Today we're diving deep into the world of teacher leadership. It's about so much more than just leading a classroom.
You're absolutely right. We're going to use this insightful article from the European Association for Higher Education Advancement, or EAEEA, to explore how teachers lead in ways that ripple out and impact the whole educational landscape.
That's what I find so fascinating, the idea that teachers are leaders in so many ways, shaping not only their students' lives, but also influencing educational change on a broader scale.
It's like a hidden network of leadership.
Right.
This article really highlights that. It emphasizes that teachers aren't just delivering information, they're actively guiding and shaping the learning process for both students and colleagues.
Okay, so let's unpack this idea of a teacher as a resource provider. It seems like a simple concept, but when you think about it, it's really at the heart of effective teaching and leadership.
Exactly, and it operates on two levels. First, think about how teachers are constantly providing resources for their students. But it's not just about handing out worksheets or pointing them to a textbook chapter.
It's about empowering them to become independent learners.
Right.
Like when a teacher helps a student struggling with research by showing them how to navigate online databases, that's real skill building.
Precisely. It's about fostering those critical thinking and problem-solving skills that students need to succeed beyond the classroom. And then there's the second-level teachers as resources for each other.
You know, that really resonates with me. When I first started teaching, I was lucky enough to have a veteran teacher share their lesson plans with me. And it wasn't just about the materials themselves. It was about having a mentor, someone I could go to for advice and support. That made a huge difference.
And that kind of generosity, that willingness to share knowledge and expertise, is what builds a strong and supportive professional community. Everyone benefits when teachers learn from each other's successes and challenges.
It creates a ripple effect, doesn't it? That shared knowledge spreads and ultimately benefits more students. Now, building on this idea of support, let's talk about the mentoring role that teacher leaders often take on. It's something that goes beyond just sharing resources. It's about providing guidance and encouragement on a more personal level.
Mentorship is a powerful force in education. Think about the impact a teacher can have as a mentor for their students. It might be helping them choose a career path, navigate college applications, or even just offering a listening ear and some encouragement when they're facing personal challenges.
It's almost like being a life coach in some cases, helping students develop the confidence and resilience they need to thrive.
Absolutely. And this mentoring extends to colleagues as well. Teacher leaders often play a crucial role in guiding newer teachers, helping them navigate the complexities of the school system, develop effective classroom management strategies, and feel confident in their teaching abilities.
That's so important, especially in those early years when new teachers are finding their footing. Having a mentor can make all the difference.
It's about passing the torch, ensuring that passion for teaching and learning continues to burn brightly. And this mentorship often leads into more formalized leadership roles, particularly when it comes to professional development. After all, who better to lead professional development than teachers themselves?
Here's where things get really interesting. I love that the article emphasizes the idea that teachers often learn best from each other. It makes sense.
Right.
They're the ones on the front lines, dealing with the same challenges and celebrating the same triumphs.
Exactly. They speak the same language, understand the nuances of the classroom, and can share practical strategies that have actually worked for them.
So, instead of just attending workshops led by outside experts, teacher leaders can create learning experiences that are truly relevant and applicable to their colleagues' everyday lives.
Think about teacher-led workshops, peer-to-peer coaching programs, or even just informal study groups where teachers can discuss articles, share ideas, and learn from each other's experiences.
It's a much more organic and collaborative approach to professional development, and I think it has the potential to be incredibly effective.
And when teachers are empowered to lead their own professional learning, it fosters a sense of ownership and encourages them to become agents of change within their schools. It's about creating a culture of continuous improvement, where everyone is striving to become a more effective educator.
So, we've seen how teachers lead through resource sharing, mentorship, and facilitating professional development for their colleagues. But their leadership roles extend beyond the classroom walls as well. It's about influencing decisions and advocating for change at a broader level.
You're absolutely right. Teachers can and should have a voice in shaping educational policy and practice. Take, for example, the role of a school leader.
I think most people assume school leader means principal or assistant principal. But teachers can be school leaders in many other ways.
Right, absolutely. They can serve on school committees, lead departments, act as curriculum coordinators, or even represent their schools at the district level. These are roles where teachers can really advocate for the needs of both students and colleagues, ensuring that their voices are heard in decision-making processes.
And this participation is vital because teachers bring a unique perspective to these leadership roles. They understand the day-to-day realities of the classroom, the challenges students face, and the resources that are needed to create a thriving learning environment.
It's about having a seat at the table where decisions are being made, and using that position to make a positive impact.
Exactly. And speaking of making a positive impact, let's talk about the role of an instructional specialist. This is where a teacher's deep knowledge of teaching strategies and their passion for a particular subject area can really shine.
I'm thinking of a teacher who has become an expert in project-based learning, for example. They've seen firsthand how engaging and effective this approach can be, and they're eager to share their knowledge with others. And that's exactly what an instructional specialist does. They become a resource for their colleagues, providing professional development, coaching, and support to help them implement new teaching strategies effectively.
Yeah. It's not just about sharing knowledge. It's about providing ongoing support and guidance to ensure that these new approaches are implemented successfully in the classroom.
Precisely. And this kind of peer-to-peer support can be incredibly powerful because it creates a sense of shared ownership and accountability. Teachers are more likely to embrace new strategies when they have a colleague they trust to guide them through the process.
And that leads to better teaching and ultimately better learning experiences for students. Now, let's move on to another specialized leadership role, the curriculum specialist.
This is a fascinating role because curriculum specialists play a critical part in shaping what students learn. They are responsible for developing,
Implementing.
and evaluating curriculum, ensuring that it aligns with educational standards while also meeting the diverse needs of learners.
It's a huge responsibility. And I think teachers are uniquely qualified to take it on. They have that firsthand experience in the classroom, so they understand what works, what doesn't, and what adjustments might be needed to make the curriculum truly engaging and effective.
Exactly. They know their students. They know their subject matter. And they know how to translate educational theory into real-world practice. Curriculum specialists are the bridge between those big picture goals and what actually happens in the classroom.
That bridge is so important. It makes me think about those standardized curriculum frameworks. Sometimes I wonder how well they truly reflect the diverse needs of students in different schools and communities.
That's a great point. And it highlights a key challenge for curriculum specialists. They have to navigate that tension between adhering to those standardized mandates and ensuring that the curriculum is relevant and responsive to the specific needs of their students.
That's it. It's about finding that balance between consistency and flexibility, making sure the curriculum is rigorous but also adaptable. And that's where a teacher's perspective is so valuable. They're the ones who can see those gaps and make those adjustments to ensure that every student has the opportunity to succeed.
It's about bringing that local knowledge and expertise to the curriculum development process. And it's not just about the content itself, it's also about the teaching methods and assessments that are used. Curriculum specialists need to ensure that those elements are aligned with the learning goals and that they're effective for diverse learners.
It sounds like a really demanding role,
Yeah.
but also incredibly rewarding.
Yeah.
Reading this article has me thinking about something else that's essential for effective teacher leadership, a commitment to lifelong learning.
This is a key takeaway from the article and something I feel very strongly about. To be truly effective leaders, teachers need to be lifelong learners themselves. They need to be curious, open to new ideas, and willing to constantly grow and evolve as educators.
That makes sense, doesn't it? The world is changing so rapidly, and education is constantly evolving. To stay relevant and effective, teachers need to keep learning and adapting.
It's about modeling that love of learning for their students. Think about the impact a teacher can have when they're genuinely excited about learning something new, when they're not afraid to admit they don't know something, and when they're eager to seek out new information and perspectives.
It sets such a positive example for students, doesn't it? It shows them that learning is a lifelong journey, not something that ends when you graduate from high school or college. It's about fostering that intellectual curiosity and that desire to keep exploring and discovering.
And this commitment to lifelong learning also benefits teachers directly. It helps them stay energized and engaged in their work, keeps them connected to the latest research and best practices, and allows them to bring new ideas and approaches into their classrooms.
It makes me think about a time when I was really struggling to integrate technology into my teaching. I felt so overwhelmed. But then I decided to reach out to one of my students who was a real tech whiz.
Hmm.
And you know what? That student taught me so much. It was a humbling experience. But it also reminded me that learning can come from anywhere, and that we should never be afraid to ask for help or to learn from those around us.
That's a fantastic anecdote, and it beautifully illustrates this point about the importance of humility and openness in lifelong learning. It's about recognizing that we don't have all the answers, and that we can learn valuable lessons from anyone, regardless of their age or experience.
It's about letting go of that ego and embracing the idea that we're all lifelong learners on this journey together. And I think that's a really powerful message for teacher leaders to embody.
I couldn't agree more. When teacher leaders demonstrate that commitment to lifelong learning, it creates a ripple effect throughout the school community. It encourages other teachers to embrace new ideas, it fosters a culture of collaboration and innovation, and it ultimately benefits students by creating a more dynamic and engaging learning environment.
So, as we wrap up our exploration of teacher leadership, I think the key takeaway for me is that it's not about titles or positions. It's about a mindset, a commitment to excellence, and a willingness to lead by example. It's about those everyday actions that inspire, empower, and make a real difference in the lives of students and colleagues.
And that's what's so exciting about teacher leadership. It's multifaceted, it's dynamic, and it's constantly evolving to meet the needs of students, schools, and the ever-changing educational landscape. It's about recognizing that every teacher has the potential to be a leader, and it's about creating the structures and systems that allow that leadership to flourish.
That's a beautiful way to put it. It's about cultivating that leadership potential and creating a culture where teachers feel valued, supported,
Yeah.
and empowered to make a positive impact.
Exactly. And that brings us to an important question that this deep dive has raised for me. If teachers are already leading in so many ways, what are the barriers that prevent them from having even greater influence on educational policy and practice? What are the systemic challenges that limit their impact, and how can we address them?
That's a really thought-provoking question. We often talk about the importance of teacher voice, but are we truly creating spaces where teachers can influence those big picture decisions?
That's the heart of the matter, isn't it? Sometimes I think those structures and systems we've created unintentionally limit the impact of teacher leadership.
It's like we're saying we value teacher leadership, but then we don't necessarily give teachers the time, resources, or authority to truly lead.
I think there's a lot of truth to that. Teachers are often so bogged down with the day-to-day demands of the classroom that they don't have the bandwidth to take on those broader leadership roles. Or they may have ideas for innovative programs or policy changes, but they don't have the channels to effectively communicate those ideas to decision makers.
So it's not just about recognizing teacher leadership. It's about actively creating pathways for teachers to exercise that leadership in meaningful ways.
Absolutely. And that might involve providing dedicated time for teachers to engage in leadership activities, offering professional development opportunities that focus on leadership skills, and creating more collaborative decision-making structures where teachers have a genuine voice at the table.
It's about shifting that power dynamic a bit, isn't it? Instead of top-down mandates. We need to create a more collaborative and equitable approach where teachers are seen as true partners in shaping educational policy and practice.
Exactly, and that requires a shift in mindset, not just from administrators, but from teachers themselves. Sometimes teachers may hesitate to step into those leadership roles because they feel like they don't have the time or the expertise, or they're worried about stepping on toes.
It's about building that confidence and empowering teachers to see themselves as leaders capable of driving positive change. It's about recognizing that their expertise and experience are invaluable assets in shaping the future of education.
I think that's a powerful message to leave our listeners with. The future of education depends on strong teacher leadership, and it's up to all of us to create the conditions that allow that leadership to thrive. We need to challenge those limiting structures, advocate for policies that support teacher leadership, and encourage teachers to step up and share their voices and their vision for a better educational system.
It's a call to action for all of us. Let's support and empower teacher leaders to create the positive change we want to see in education. And that wraps up our deep dive into the world of teacher leadership. We hope you found it insightful and inspiring. Please don't forget to follow the European Association for Higher Education Advancement on YouTube and social media,